We'll just start in 5 minutes.
एक्चुअली अभी बंद किया है बिकॉज जो अपस्टेज है उनको ये वाला पॉइंट चाहिए। हाँ हाँ वही लाइन, उसका पॉइंट उनको चाहिए। अच्छा देखो, नज़ाकत, अपस्टेज, यूफनी, नॉर्थ ईस्ट, क्षितिज।
Finally, our chief guest has arrived and the lamp lighting ceremony is going on. The presence of light means the non existence of darkness and evil forces. The event has started with lighting of the lamp, respecting the rich tradition of our country. Diya is essential in many religions and signifies purity, goodness, good luck, and power. And like every auspicious day, this fortunate day would begin with us bowing our heads in reverence to the goddess of wisdom and learning, Ma Saraswati. I request the mem- I request the members of Samranjani to present the Saraswati Vandana. We'll wait for 1 minute for our guests to arrive. Please be patient. Gopal Bhaiya in the control room. If you're there, please come downstairs. You're needed.
जयति जय जय मा सरस्वती जयति वीणा वादिनी मा जयति वीणा वादिनी मा जयति जय जय मा सरस्वती म पधनि प म प ग म रे
सनि सरि सा ध नि प म प
प स नि स ध नि प म प ग म रे सा जयति पद्मा स्नेह माता जयति शुभ वरदायिनी मां जयति पद्मा स्नेह माता जयति शुभ वरदायिनी मां जगत का कल्याण कर मां जगत का कल्याण कर मां तू है जग की जननी जयति जय जय मां सरस्वती जयति वीणा वादिनी मां जयति वीणा वादिनी मां जयति जय जय मां सरस्वती रे सा रे प ग ग म रे सा रे प ग ग म रे सा कमल आसन छोड़ दे माँ देख मेरी दुर्दशा कमल आसन छोड़ आसन छोड़ दे माँ कमल आसन छोड़ दे माँ देख मेरी दुर्दशा शांति की सरिता बहा दे शांति की सरिता बहा दे हे सकल जगतारिणी माँ जयति जय जय माँ सरस्वती जयति वीणा वादिनी माँ जयति वीणा वादिनी माँ जयति जय जय माँ सरस्वती जयति जय जय माँ जय जय माँ जय जय माँ
There couldn't have been a more humbling opening to this day. Thank you, Samranjani, for this beguiling homage to Ma Saraswati. I am Dr. Jaswinder Kaur, and I would like to invite all of you to the inauguration of Gargi College's annual fest, Reverie 2022. Welcome. It is indeed exhilarating to see all of our colleagues assembled in the auditorium of our beloved college once again in almost 2 years. रैन बिना जग दुखी और दुखी चंद्र बिन रैन तुम बिन साजन मैं दुखी और दुखी दरस बिन नैन. This quote by Amir Khusro mirrors our feelings during the 2 years hiatus in our lives, literally and figuratively. While we were cocooned in our homes, it appears that we are slowly and surely emerging from it, and our heads and minds will once again soar freely. Keeping in view the unprecedented situation that we all have faced, this time the annual fest, Reverie, is aptly based on the theme Embracing the Change. Before further ado, I extend my warmest regards and gratitude to the dignitaries present here. Our chief guest, the renowned musician, Mr. Rabbi Shergill. Our respected chairperson, Mr. Amitav Virmani. And our beloved principal, Professor Pramila Kumar. We feel very fortunate to have you all amongst us. I would like to invite Professor Pramila Kumar, Dr. Sheila Dubey, and the students' president Saundarya to felicitate Mr. Rabbi Shergill, our chief guest. Meanwhile, I request everyone to kindly put their phones on silent. I would again request Professor Pramila Kumar, Dr. Seema Sharma, and the cultural sect Diya Deepak for extending felicitations to Mr. Amitav Virmani, our chairperson. Dr. Niyati, Tanvi Agarwal, Vice President, and Tanya, General Sec, are cordially invited to felicitate Professor Pramila Kumar, our beloved principal. May I now request Professor Kumar to please deliver the welcome address.
Good morning. Great personalities, when near you, make you feel the charm of their traits and uniqueness and inspire you to live life not just for yourself. Today we have amongst us Mr. Rabbi Shergill and Mr. Amitav Virmani. I extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Shergill, Mr. Virmani, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, and dear students on the joyous occasion of the inauguration of Reverie 2022, the annual cultural festival of Gargi. I am indeed delighted to be in your midst today, a long-awaited offline interaction. There are no words which can convey our awe and respect for Mr. Rabbi Shergill. He has carved out a niche for himself in the Indian music industry as an independent musician. He has always been a transformer in this industry, which in some way reflects his electric personality and is also visible in his music. We would like to take this opportunity to tell him that it's our honor and privilege to welcome you here, sir. Our gathering takes on a special meaning and moves to the next level due to your presence. With utmost pleasure, I extend a warm and a hearty welcome to Chairman College Governing Body, Mr. Amitav Virmani, the founder and CEO of the Education Alliance, a non-profit organization that focuses on improving the quality of education in government schools. Sir, you have been a constant source of great strength for us, and we look forward for your guidance and support. I feel so proud to be at the helm of this institute of great repute. Established in 1967 by Delhi government, the college has rich legacy. Its creation provides a unique opportunity to young women for quality higher education. For many, it was a dream come true. A generation of young women entered the portals of the college with the image of a new life opening up before them. They set for themselves high goals and ideals. They worked for a new society in which women would enjoy equal opportunity with men in professional and public life. In the present day context, it is not enough for teachers to merely give information and knowledge to students. This is, of course, basic. But more than information and knowledge, we emphasize on the holistic development of our students. Gargi College is popular for galaxy of its cultural and non-cultural societies, which play a pivotal role in this direction. This is an appropriate place and time to acknowledge the contribution of our students who are not only participating in the events at national and international level, but are also bringing laurels to the institute. I wish to make an announcement here. Delhi University is celebrating its centenary year in 2022. On this occasion, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Yogesh Singh, released the centenary logo, the entries for which had been invited from students of university through open competition. I am proud and thrilled to announce that creator of the logo, which was selected, is a student of Gargi College, Kritika Khinchi of BA program. Well done, Kritika. We are so proud of you. It's very important that you take part in these activities, nevertheless insignificant whether you win or lose. एक मशहूर कहावत है, गिरते हैं शह सवार ही मैदान जंग में, वो शख्स क्या गिरेंगे जो घुटनों के बल चले. Being a mathematician, I cannot proceed further till I define the keywords, which is Reverie for today. I have been associated with the cultural event for a number of years in the capacity of a proctor, advisor, and principal at present. It's a learning experience. And what I have learned in these years will help me in defining Reverie. It is Reverie. Rejuvenate ethical values, it elevates relationship, and the outcome is immense energy. नैतिक मूल्यों को फिर से जीवंत कर आपसी संबंधों को मजबूत करना जरूरी है, जिसके फलस्वरूप अपार ऊर्जा का संचार होता है. थीम ऑफ दिस ईयर इज एम्ब्रेसिंग चेंज, परिवर्तन की ओर. Such a relevant issue in the current testing times. Change is inevitable. We must accept it. In fact, change is the only constant. But there is always resistance in accepting any change, whether it is a change in place, change of job, or change in environment, etc., etc. Probably because we feel more comfortable and secure in doing things the way we have always been doing them. Once we start accepting any change as a positive development, it will surely integrate in our lives without any anxiety. The year 2021 is the greatest example of why it is important for all of us to cultivate the ability to accept change. Change of teaching from offline mode to online mode and now again to offline mode is a testimony to this. Let's master new skills and become positive, wiser, fearless by embracing change. परिवर्तन तो सृष्टि का अटल सत्य है. जैसे रात के बाद दिन का आना अनिवार्य है, वैसे ही दिन के बाद रात का आना भी अनिवार्य है. ऋतु भी सदा एक सी नहीं रहती. हम भी हर पल बदल रहे हैं. जैसे हम 10 वर्ष पूर्व थे वैसे आज नहीं हैं, और जैसे आज हैं वैसे आगे नहीं रहेंगे। केवल परिवर्तन अटल है, बाकी सब बदल रहा है। जब परिवर्तन अटल ही है तो क्यों ना उसको एक चुनौती की तरह स्वीकार करें। परिवर्तन को अपनाने का अर्थ है कि आप परिवर्तन को अनुकूल दृष्टि से देखते हैं और खुद को बेहतर बनाने का या नई चीज़ों को आजमाने के अवसर के रूप में इसका उपयोग करते हैं। आपको अपनी क्षमताओं के प्रति सकारात्मक होना आवश्यक है। परिवर्तन का रहस्य आप अपनी सारी ऊर्जा को पुराने से लड़ने पर नहीं, बल्कि नए के निर्माण पर केंद्रित करना होगा। यदि हम पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी परिवर्तन को स्वीकार नहीं करते, तो आदि मानव से आज के मानव का सफर तय कैसे कर पाते। कर्म बंधन में बंध रही हो, फल की न तजियो आस, कर्म मानुष का धर्म है, सत भाखे रविदास। संत रविदास जी ने कहा, हमेशा हमें अपने कर्म में लगे रहना चाहिए और कभी भी कर्म के बदले मिलने वाले फल की आशा भी नहीं छोड़नी चाहिए, क्योंकि कर्म करना हमारा धर्म है तो फल पाना भी हमारा सौभाग्य है। तो फिर आओ चलें अपने सौभाग्य की ओर, परिवर्तन की ओर। जय हिंद।
Thank you, Professor Kumar, for the delightful address. Your constant support, hard work, and ideas are what keeps us going. Thank you once again. It is our great pleasure to have amongst us as our chief guest, Mr. Rabbi Shergill. Even though his name and fame need no introduction, it is our privileged opportunity to count a few milestones of his life and be inspired and awed together. Mr. Shergill is an alumnus of University of Delhi. His compositions are extremely intellectual, fusing ancient Punjabi language with more contemporary Indian rock music. His first music album, Rabbi, in 2005, where Bulla Ki Jana made the top of the charts, was an instant hit. Later on, he started composing albums on the burning issues in society. Mr. Shergill released his second album, Aavegi Janai, under Yashraj Music. The album deals with issues like communal violence, social responsibility, and the need for collective morality. Over the years, he has composed music and songs for many movies like Chhalla for Jab Tak Hai Jaan, Dilli for Delhi Heights, Bulia for Romeo Akbar Walter, and Adat for Happy, Hardy and Heer. His singles like Talash and Paina have a soul-stirring quality. Mr. Shergill has come a long way since his legendary chartbuster debut album, firmly nestled in the role of the rebellious and an uncompromising artist. He has chosen to keep the flag of independent music flying. He is known for enchanting the crowds in his live concerts. He remains a singer, songwriter, guitarist, and one-of-a-kind performer. I would now request our chief guest, Mr. Rabbi Shergill, to come up on the dais to deliver the keynote address. And I'm also sure that all the members of the audience would love to hear you sing a few excerpts. Mr. Shergill.
Hello. First and foremost, a great thank you to Madam Pramila Kumar for inviting me here. And I must say I'm feeling a little nervous. Let me explain why. I started my life trying my level best, trying to get inside a women's college, and I'm here, a chief guest of a women's college today. I went to Khalsa College, you know. So every year, Miranda House would have a thing. And it was a test of our masculinity and our pole vaulting abilities to vault over the fence. I scarcely made it. But that's not my only association with a women's college. Like I was telling the principal ma'am backstage, my own mother was principal of Mother Sundari College, Dr. Mahinder Kaur Gill. And my own sister is a professor in Guru Gobind Singh Khalsa College. She teaches commerce. So I come from an academic family. There was no music in my, there was no formal music as such. I had to pole vault over my parents' inhibitions. My father was a farmer, an Oriental scholar. He would say in Punjabi, he would say, he had a simple mandate for me. He would say, Putra, ja ta IAS lag ja. Je IAS nahi lagna, to PCS lag ja. Je PCS nahi lagna, to patwari lag ja. And I would say, Patwari kyun? Kehna, Patwari jattan da rab hunda. So I grew up really idealizing the concept of education, but I never quite understood what education was. And I suspect even my family didn't. My mother started her life as a refugee. Her family was uprooted in 1947. They came over to Jalandhar. They settled in Jalandhar's Ali Mohalla. And she didn't really, and she would tell me, she never saw the inside of a college before she started teaching there. And I found that experience was central to her becoming an excellent educator. I'm the product of her education. I don't know about the other kids, the students. And therefore, I've been thinking about what education truly means on my way here. I was stuck in a jam built by educated engineers. I was traveling in cars built by educated engineers again. But there is something that an Indian always feels uneasy about. We don't really know what it is. If education was the panacea for all the ills that India had, I grew up in the 90s when we felt that India was strictured by its old bugbears of caste, of all the darkness that we had. And we felt when Manmohan Singh took over as the foreign minister that India would industrialize, and yes, we would indeed achieve all the happiness that we thought the West had. And we dove headlong into whatever was the educational suggestions of the time, which was primarily an IIT. And information technology. My sister, we have 4 siblings, we have 5 siblings, and the one immediately elder to I, she became an IT consultant. She's in San Diego. And when I look at her life, and I look at my other siblings' life, and I look at lives of other people, and I wonder what I'm at that point in my life where I can sense whether the educational impetus imparted on the society of my generation really did yield results or not. And I have to say, I have mixed feelings about it. I feel my education and that of my peers has made us exist somewhat comfortably in a technoscape. Has it served to wake up, make me alive to my own truth and the truth of the times? I can't really, I have my WhatsApp group, my WhatsApp chat group, and we keep yakking away. And every time we put up anything remotely intellectual or political or quasi-political, 9 out of 10 people say, it's too heavy, bro, it's too heavy. And they are brain surgeons, and they are Supreme Court advocates, and they are smart people. And they have absolutely no interest in waking up to the truth of the times. And there's many truths. I could just come here and start saying this is the truth of times. It may not be your truth. So again, I go back to my own intellectual meanderings while on the way here. And I was thinking what exactly education is. What should I tell my kids? Should I tell them to chase a degree? Should I ask them to chase a job? Incidentally, I'm appalled by the role of these world schools. On the way here, I saw boards of at least 3 schools offering international baccalaureate. And I have to say, are these schools or are these visa facilitation centers? The kids who go there get all their money, their parents make all their money in India. And basically, they're giving the kids an education which will help them integrate seamlessly with the West, primarily America and Canada. All of this social investment, millions and crores and hundreds of crores, marshaled into an industry which produces American emigrants. Is this a win-win formula for us? Is there a net social profit here? I'm not so sure. And what exactly is the truth of the times? There can be many truths. You can have your truth and I have my truth. I think ultimately education is about making us inhabit our own truth. My truth is, I come from a privileged background. I never had to struggle. People have struggled way more than I. I always had a roof over my head, a AC in my window, and food in my stomach. I don't really know what struggle is. Not in the sense that most people who sell eggs on radies understand struggle as. But at the same time, I cannot help but find myself in disapproval of what is the overwhelming orientation of society and education right now. I'm sorry I'm here and I'm talking to teachers, but perhaps some things I have to inhabit my own truth. And that truth is that our education helps us in complying, in obeying the mandate of the times. That mandate is set by people, them, there, over there. I don't know who they are sitting behind these, steel and glass buildings. My own truth is that I come from a city which is built on the banks of a beautiful river, one of the fundamental rivers of this country. And I cannot stand on the edges of that river for 1 minute before being completely repulsed. I live in a city which has an AQI of 1,000. It has 200 bad AQI days. It has a through-the-roof asthma rate. Its young kids are going to use at least 15 years of their good life. It's a city where culture right now means constant immigration. It'll never feel settled. It is a city which doesn't quite know the greatest citizen that it's produced, which is perhaps Ghalib. It doesn't care about poets. It doesn't care about arts. It cares only about entertainment and personal aggrandizement. And I'm a little troubled by that. Not a little. I want to see hope. I think places of education should give us hope. And more than hope, they should be a twang on my tuning fork, which is who I am. They should wake me up. They should make me vibrate in consonance with the universe. It doesn't. I'm so sorry to say, we are just all numb right now. I see numbness everywhere. I want to walk into a room where I am heard, where people just don't get bored if I say the AQI is killing us, where people don't ply me with drinks endlessly, where people are interested in true change, where they want to wake up to their own soul, where people want to go out and look at the full moon on Purnima. I don't see that happening. I think education has for too long meant complying us with whatever they decide. They are them over there, powers that be. It's top down. And that's not the world I want to give to my kids. I want my kids to be educated, I want them to think what to be educated means to them. I don't want to give them prescriptions of employment. Being employed in a matrix which is going to crash. We have reached the physical limits of growth here. GDP is cancerous. I was talking to Mr. Virmani backstage, and he says Delhi government is really talking about and introducing the concept of happiness in curriculum now. And I didn't know that, and I was very pleasantly surprised, and I was blown by that. I said, great. When you look around, the only place that I want to live in is Bhutan. You know, I go to Sri Lanka, and I really like that place. The more technologically advanced places I go to, the more pathologies I see there. I see my own sister, brilliant sister, go-getter, runs triathlons and does marathons and is biking 60 kilometers a day. And kids have gone off. She's separated from her husband. And the acute loneliness, which is the destiny of the West, is something that we are transporting here. And I'm amazed that we go about it unblinkingly. The amount of antidepressants that they use in the West it's so much that it's seeped into the reservoir now, that you find small trace amounts in groundwater now. So I can't understand, is it merely a coincidence or is it a causality? I think now, when the deepest part of the ocean to nearest space is polluted, now when Arctic is melting, we are looking at denouement. Now when today a nuclear reactor is on fire in Ukraine, I think we need to re-examine what education truly is. Is it materialistic gain? And I was talking again to somebody, and through talking, you develop insights. I don't have these ideas. It's only by talking to people, smart people like many here, that I get these insights, or I get their insights and I adopt those insights. And I've come to understand that education should make me realize, or make me at least etch out a truth for myself. And my truth, I'm not a very well-educated person. I'm just an MA. So you guys must be MPhils and PhDs, and in my family, you had to be at least an MA to get lunch. So I am an MA, but I don't really understand whether that has really done what it should have. And And this is something I want to invite the kids here who are going to shape the world. And they are going to carry our burden. I'm so sorry that we didn't change the world. You're looking at a Delhi where the temperatures will soar for sure to 50s and mid 50s in summers over the next, I don't know. I mean, it's a question not of if, it's a question of when. It is going to happen. You're going to have your wheat and rice crops be destabilized because of temperature variations. They need a temperature range within which to survive. Once that collapses, those crops will collapse. We are looking at a 10 to 15% reduction of wheat production over the next 5 to 10 years. And when that happens, what happens then? It's like a whole bunch of really intuitive things are not being discussed right now. When we were kids, they were discussing family planning. How many here remember family planning being discussed after the 9 o'clock serial in our homes? Please raise your hands. All the people who grew up in the 90s, do you remember family planning being discussed on TV? Yeah, so has anybody seen a single family planning poster now? There were 60 crore then, we are 130 crore now. What's the plan here? What's the game plan? What's the end game here? You're telling kids, your advertising is telling kids to go out and achieve. What do they achieve? 3 cars, 2 flats, 5 ACs, 6 Spanish holidays? Can the earth survive this achievement? We're telling kids to go out and achieve. And on the other hand, the best scientists in the world, scientists, and these are not hacks, these are not shills, these are not people, these are not Arnab Goswami panelists. These are people, real people with real degrees, with real field work, who've gotten into submarines and gone down into Arctic Ocean and see the methane bubbling out. And they are saying, and they are crying. They're crying real bucket loads of tears. And they're saying, we're so sorry, kids, we screwed it up for you. Do you listen to them or do you listen to, Virat Kohli selling you Go Digit insurance? Or Dhoni selling you paints? Or people selling you, or Shah Rukh Khan saying greed is good? What do you listen to? What is education here, please? All the mandarins, I ask you this, what is education? Where does the Miknatusi Sui of truth point at? Which is true north here? Can this planet, let's just reduce it, let's talk about scale. Can India really bear the unbridled achievement of the class that we are educating right now? What is education? Do you look at products right now? Do you look at your iPhones right now? They have planned obsolescence built into them. They're supposed to become old in 6 months or a year. You're supposed to buy something. What happened to people making products which went on for life? What is this use and throw thing? Can we really, can this country really give all of its kids or all of its citizens a Gurgaon lifestyle? We'll need 6 Indias to give them that. But yet you find the TV just pushing you in that direction, just goading you in that direction, just whipping you into that direction. My kids, they want to achieve out there. They want to go out and do the same stuff. And as a kid, as a father, I'm horrified. I'm psychologically disturbed. On one hand, I want them to be in step with their peers, and on the other hand, I want them to be in step with my conscience. So, is there no model or vision of growth where both my conscience and the society's orientation can be balanced? Isn't that the basic premise of education, or shouldn't it be a basic premise of education? Shouldn't education be conscientious? Is it conscientious? You have kids immediately after doing college, they will immediately enter a corporate world. And what exactly is a corporation? I worked in a corporation. Now, I'm not a Naxalite and I'm not a socialist and I'm not a communist, but I'm sure as hell not a capitalist. Because the more I see, I find capital can only occur when you squeeze nature. It's either inner nature or outer nature. You'll have to squeeze it. And on the other hand, I look at my own history as an Indian, as somebody, maybe a son of Nanak, as a son of Ravidas, as a son of Vedas, and as a son of Buddha. And the more I see it, the more I pay attention to that, the more I'm drawn to the one genuine insight that this civilization has produced, which is to go inside. I am drawn to go inside. Alexander comes here, he speaks to Dandamis. Dandamis, was it? Maybe some history professor, maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Dandamis comes here, speaks to Dandamis. Alexander has this conversation with Dandamis on the edge of Bias, and in Punjab, incidentally. And Dandamis says, what are you doing here? You are from Greece, what are you doing here? And he says, I'm here to win the world. He says, do you even know that people in your own kingdom, on the edge of your own kingdom, do not know your name, and you're going to win the world? He says, how many rivers do you think are there in India? He says, I only know of these 5 rivers. He says, there's 5 more. And that's just India. What are you talking about? What will you achieve at the end of it all? And he says, I'll know I've achieved something. He says, why can't you just do that right now? Wouldn't you save all of this slaughter, all of this misery on everybody else? I am drawn to that guy. I'm drawn to that guy who doesn't wear a stitch of a cloth on a little island in Bias. And he speaks to this guy. He gives him word. And that guy turns back. Okay, some say it was a strategic decision, and maybe the Punjabis were throwing spears, which is, what do they call them? People with arrows, people with bows and arrows couldn't. They were saying that when he was at the edge of, on the other edge and trying to come this side to Porus's place, and he says there were spears landing near his feet. And he was saying, there's something wrong with these people. Nobody's spears can come this long. Maybe that's for another speech. But I find the elegance and beauty of the Indian doctrine that you find in Megasthenes Pax Indica, where he says, they have this conversation. It could be wrong. Maybe I'm idolizing it, but maybe I'm being romantic about it. But I hear so many other romantic perversions of history happening around us that I tend to be a little prejudicial to my own. I find this romance beautiful. An insane, xenophobic, crazy guy comes here and an Indian speaks to him and it makes him turn back. How about holding on to however remote the shred of truth contained in there? Do we need to achieve or do we need to be? Time after time, be it an Indian philosopher or be it a Western philosopher, even Heidegger, time after time, they just want you to just be. But here we have, driven by corporation, driven by big capital, driven by policies they create in those offices, just going out to achieve. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe somebody can point out the truth to me. But do you think we can have true progress without polluting the Yamuna more? Is there even one person who thinks here that development and natural beauty are not inversely proportional? Is there even one person, I'd like to see one hand which says progress, which can guarantee me that progress will not cause even more uglification of everything that we see around us? And that, my friends, is the dirty truth. And that is what needs to be discussed. That should be central to education. My mother would say we are all Macaulay's kids. We are all Newton's kids. And I would take this opportunity, I think I've winded off, and I think at some point you want me to sing, right? So I'll come to that. Just a little bit more. My mother would say that we are all Macaulay's kids. And as I grew older, I started looking, and I read a little bit, and it came to another conclusion of mine, that we are all Newton's kids. And Newton, as you say, is this great 18th century or 17th century figure. And his greatest contribution is, calculus and theoretical mathematics and physics. Maybe ma'am can shed more light on that. And I see that whatever he did with mathematics and physics, that has cast its shadows on almost every other discipline, be it math, be it bio, be it chemistry, be it social sciences, be it our political institutions. And the same flaws that his physics is right now dealing with are the same crises that we find ourselves dealing with, which are essentially, they come from reductionism and determinism. Reductionism as in, you just figure out the smallest, the universe is a clockwork. All you got to do is figure out the small part and you'll figure out the universe. But heck no, when you go a little deeper, when Einstein tells you at quantum level these things don't work, then the physics crashes. And it's the same, and determinism, that you can figure it out, that you are a neutral agency. You just look at the world, and the world is just going on, and that's a machine, and your job is to simply just observe, and you will know that you can determine like that. And now they say that that's not true, that the sheer fact of observation is an electromagnetic field, that an electron only appears when you look at it. Otherwise, it's a wave function. I could be wrong. Maybe there's smart people here. Maybe they can point out the flaws in my insight here. To come back to it, there is a great turbulence and a great churning in the most central of foundational bricks of our civilizational building, our structure, which is physics. It crashes. Whatever Newton says happens, it doesn't happen at the quantum level. So they now have to come out with something, some people are calling it the string theory. We are in crisis, and it can be seen by how there is no interdisciplinary contact between different disciplines. A chemist doesn't know what is going on with biology. He's just absolutely clueless. A political science theory person doesn't quite know anything about poetry. And similarly, it's just going on and on and on, and I come back to my own childhood, and all of that is reflected in people who do not easily fit into our small little boxes to be marginalized. I was marginalized as a kid. I thought I was a smart kid, but I wasn't good at math, which is what this country was trying to produce, engineers. In the 90s, everyone was into engineering. People who even failed in their 12th were sent off to Pimpri or Pune or Kolhapur or somewhere, and they're engineering. Maybe those are the people building the roads at Ashram flyover right now, which I was stuck in. But that is essentially what I find is the problem. I'm not, this is my defining of the problem. I think maybe when you guys think about it, maybe you'll find development has to be redefined. Is it only material development that we are talking about? I've been to colleges and I've been to institutions, and I never understood how what I'm studying fits in with this entire project called existence. I never quite, no class teacher, no teacher ever was interested in telling me how mathematics is going to help me in my afterlife. And I am interested in my afterlife because, heck, I am an Indian. The greatest insight that I think I was born to receive was that there is an afterlife, that I am not this decaying matter of a body, that I'm something else inside. And I feel for 17 years, no discipline, no classroom, no period made me become awake to this beautiful aphorism, axiom of my glorious Indian civilization. I'm not this thing. You are not this thing. We are, to quote Brad Pitt from Fight Club, we are the all decaying crap of the world. And that is something I think is never quite brought out in the force that it should. And everything, all the great people that we keep quoting. And this is all that they keep talking about. So to come back to it, I just hope, I don't know if the kids, how many kids are here? People who go to school here, people who go to college here. Okay, all right. So kiddos, all I really want from you is to just examine the matrix itself. By matrix, I mean you have been thrown into the world, like Heidegger would say. And you are everything, every thought in going across your mind has already existed here. And you're simply processing that. There is nothing new in what you can think of. So the only thing that you can truly do is become alive to your own existence. And you have to start thinking about the validity of the thoughts that you find crisscrossing you. And you have to run them by the limits set in by the system within which we exist. And I'm sorry to say, we have long breached those limits. It's all coming down in a heap. It's no coincidence that we have these extreme weather events. It's no coincidence that glaciers are melting. It's no coincidence that probably your finger would melt if you were to dip it in Yamuna for 5 minutes. I come from Punjab, and the same water that we swam in, we drank directly from rivulets and sewers and tube wells. You can't drink it anymore. We have ROs in our villages now because groundwater has trace chemicals. They're giving us Cancer. There's a train in the Malwa region called the cancer train. People have uranium coming out on their hair follicles. 80% of all Punjab is water critical. We have lost 8 inches of topsoil. So right now what's happening in Punjab? People are just, the great business is in just selling your land over to developers. People create colonies there, neighborhoods, new swanky cities come up. And what happens in those cities? What do these people do? How do they make money? No idea. No idea. What happens there? We're just burning the candle on both ends. And that is what education has to talk about. If we don't talk about it, the future generations are not going to forgive you. You will be the failed generation. Like I look at music and I say the 70s music, 80s music. I look at, as a musical person, I look at 80s as a failed, nothing era. Saans ki zarurat ho jaise. I mean, is it the backstory of my life? No, I'm just giving you an example. You get it? It's just nothing, it says nothing, it's just drivel. We will be the nothing generation, we will be drivel. And these people will think of us, they will curse us in their dreams. We have to redefine what education truly means. For India to grow, we need to shed our old skin. For you guys to achieve your potential, and it's not materialistic, physical potential, your existential potential, you will have to question the matrix. I don't know if I'm overstepping my boundaries here, but as a son of educationist, as a brother of an educationist, I feel it my profound duty to share with you what I truly feel. I don't know whether it is right or it is wrong, but I feel it in my bones. And this is my truth. I just hope that you one day have a truth that you feel in your bones. That truth will be like love. When you are in love, nobody has to tell you you are in love. You just know. I hope for every human being to find that euphoric moment when you say, yes, I know. That Archimedean eureka moment when you say, yes, I know the truth. I just hope I've been some sort of harbinger for that moment. And with these words, I think I should launch into some pop songs. So what do you want to listen to? I'm taking requests now. Come on, somebody has to speak it out loud. Come on, I spent so much time. Wake up. Can't hear you. ओए होए तेरे बिन सानू सुनिया क्या बात है पर एक ही शर्त है आप सबको गाना पड़ेगा गाएंगे जोर दी गाओगे तेरे बिन सानू सोने कोई होर नहीं लभना जो दवे रूह नू सकून चुके जो नखरा मेरा तेरे बिन सानू सोने कोई हो नहीं लभना everybody जो दवे रूह नू सकून चुके जो नखरा मेरा ओ मैं सारे घूम के वेख्या अमरीका रूस मलेशिया ना किते भी कोई फर्क सी हर किसे दी कोई शर्त सी कोई मंगदा मेरा सी समा कोई हुंदा सूरत ते फिदा कोई मंगदा मेरी सी वफा ना कोई मंगदा मेरी अंबला तेरे बिन और न किसे मंगनी मेरियां बला तेरे बिन और न किसे करनी धुप विच छां तेरे बिन कमान जुगलबंदी तेरे बिन कोई हो when we sing we are one जो दबे चुके जो नखरा मेरा everybody तेरे बिन सानू सोने कोई हो जो दबे रूह नू सकून चुके जो नखरा मेरा everybody तेरे बिन सानू सोने कोई हो नहीं लभना जो दबे रूह नू सकून चुके जो नखरा मेरा So what do you want to listen to next? यार आप गाते बहुत कम हो यार इतनी धीमी आवाज में यार अब जितना गाया था इससे डबल गाना पड़ेगा डबल जोश के साथ ठीक है आगे आवाज आनी चाहिए ये मैं किसी कॉन्सर्ट में नहीं जाता हूं जहां कम से कम 2-3 सीटें ना गिर जाएं शोर के मारे ठीक है दिस इज अ रॉक कॉन्सर्ट गाइस ओके हो 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 बुल्ला की बुल्ला की जाना मैं कौन बुल्ला की जाना मैं कौन बुल्ला की जाना मैं कौन ना मैं मोमन विच मसीता ना मैं विच कुफर दियां रीतां ना मैं पाकां विच पलीतां ना मैं अंदर बैद कताबां ना मैं रहिंदा भंग शराबां ना मैं रहिंदा मस्त खराबां ना मैं शादी ना तमना की ना मैं विच पलीती पाकी ना मैं बिना मैं खाकी ना मैं तशना मैं बुल्ला की जाना मैं कौन बुल्ला की जाना मैं कौन ना मैं अरबी ना लाहौरी ना मैं हिंदी शहर न गौरी ना हिंदू ना तुर्क पशौरी ना मैं पेत मजहब दा पाया ना मैं आदम हवा जाया ना कोई अपना नाम ताराया ना भला कर आप न जाना ना कोई दूजा होर पछाना मैं तो ना कोई होर सियाना बुल्ला शा खड़ा है मकान बुला की जाना मकान बुला की जाना मकान बुला की जाना मकान बुला की जाना मकान everybody बुला की we are one when we sing बुला की जाना मकान बुला की जाना मकान everybody हो बुल्ला की जाना मकान बुल्ला की जाना मकान बुल्ला की जाना मकान वो बुल्ला की जाना मकान हो everybody हो your turn बुल्ला की जाना मकान बुल्ला की जाना मकान बुल्ला की जाना मकान बुल्ला की जाना मकान छल्ला छल्ला देखो दो गाए हैं मैंने एक तो शाहरुख खान वाला है एक शाहरुख खान वाला ही ये शाहरुख खान क्राउड है इसका मतलब चलो साथ में गाओगे चल्ला की लबदा फिरे चल्ला की लबदा फिरे यारो दा कर केड़ा लोकां तो पुछदा फिरे चल्ला हसदा फिरे चल्ला रोंदा फिरे चल्ला गली गली रुलदा फिरे वे चले तू सबदा चले तेरा कोई नहीं चल्ला गली गली रुलदा फिरे ओ चल्ला की लबदा फिरे यारो दा कर केड़ा लोकां तो पुछदा फिरे रंग सत रंगी दे बुलबुलां दी बोली तोप दे पैर चले छावां दी लै डोली रंग सत रंगी रंगी दे बुलबुलां दी बोली तोप दे पैरी चले छावां दी लै डोली ਵੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਾਲੇ ਕਾਲੇ ਬੱਦਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੰਨ ਲੱਭਦਾ ਗੂੰਗੀਆਂ ਹਵਾਵਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਆਵਾਜ਼ਾਂ ਸੁਣਦਾ ਵੇ ਲੋਕੋਂ ਆਸੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਵਸਦਾ ਏ ਯਾਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਦਿਖਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਖੁਸ਼ਬੂਆਂ ਸੁੰਘਦਾ ਹੋ ਚੱਲਾ ਕੀ ਲੱਭਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਚੱਲਾ ਕੀ ਲੱਭਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਯਾਰੋ ਦਾ ਘਰ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਪੁੱਛਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਵੇ ਚੱਲਾ ਹੱਸਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਚੱਲਾ ਰੋਂਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਤੂੰ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਚੱਲੇ ਚੱਲਾ ਗਲੀ ਗਲੀ ਰੁਲਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਚੱਲਾ ਹੱਸਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਚੱਲਾ ਚੱਲਾ ਗਲੀ ਗਲੀ ਚੱਲੇ ਤੂੰ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਚੱਲੇ ਤੇਰਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲਾ ਗਲੀ ਗਲੀ ਰੁਲਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਚ ਮਿਲਣੇ ਦਾ ਵਾਦਾ ਉਸਦਾ ਸਾਰੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਰਾਤ ਨਾ ਅੱਖ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਹ ਵੀ ਥੋੜੇ ਥੋੜੇ ਘੱਟ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਨਬਜ਼ ਵੀ ਥੋੜੀ ਘੱਟ ਵੱਜਦੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਚ ਮਿਲਣੇ ਦਾ ਵਾਦਾ ਉਸਦਾ ਸਾਰੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਰਾਤ ਨਾ ਅੱਖ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਚ ਮਿਲਣੇ ਦਾ ਵਾਦਾ ਉਸਦਾ ਸਾਰੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਰਾਤ ਨਾ ਅੱਖ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਹ ਵੀ ਥੋੜੇ ਥੋੜੇ ਘੱਟ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਨਬਜ਼ ਵੀ ਥੋੜੀ ਘੱਟ ਹੋ ਚੱਲਾ ਕੀ ਲੱਭਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਚੱਲਾ ਕੀ ਲੱਭਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਯਾਰੋਸ ਘਰ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਪੁੱਛਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਚੱਲਾ ਹੱਸਦਾ ਫਿਰੇ ਚੱਲਾ ਚੱਲੇ ਤੂੰ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਚੱਲਾ Come on, Gardi! Challa, hasida fire, challa. Challa, gali gali rulda fire. Challe tu sabda, challe tera koi nahi. Challa, gali gali rulda. Ha, challa ki labda fire. All right, guys, it's been fantastic being here, and this is what we rockers really want to do. We want to come here and subvert keynote addresses. I hope, ma'am, I didn't cross any boundaries. Well, if I didn't, I'm a little disappointed. But it was just fabulous being here. It's just a great opportunity to be speaking to people smarter than me, for sure. Most of my concerts, people are drunk. So it's nice being here speaking to sober people in more ways than one, and smart people. It's a joy and a privilege. Thank you for having me here. And I think the MC should take over now. And thank you once again.
So can you be more thrilled? So please allow me. Thank you. तेरी आवाज़ है कि सूफी का कोई नगमा है जिसे सुनूं तो सुकून जन्नतों सा मिलता है. That was for you, sir. Thank you for the thrilling performance and words of wisdom. Listening to you, one quote comes to my mind by René Descartes: I think, therefore I am. We also have amongst us our respected chairperson, Mr. Amitav Virmani. As already told by Principal Ma'am, Mr. Virmani is the founder and CEO of the Education Alliance, or T. It's a non-profit organization focused on improving the quality of education in government schools. T works with the state governments of Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Tripura, Delhi, and South Delhi Municipal Corporation on education reform initiatives. Prior to founding the Education Alliance, Sir was the country director ARK India, a UK-based NGO. Mr. Virmani and his team launched several programs focused on school leadership, English language literacy, and school quality assessments. Mr. Virmani was educated at the Doon School and went on to study economics at St. Stephen's College, Delhi University. He has an MBA from UNC Chapel Hill, USA. He sits on the board of AVPN India, Children's Book Trust, Virmani Education Trust, Teach for India, and Sri Ram Schools. Mr. Virmani is a member of the CII Education Task Force and also a member of the International Board of Advisors for Keenan Flagler Business School, UNC Chapel Hill. He's an Aspen Fellow, Ashoka Fellow, and also Encore Fellow. I would now request our chairperson, Mr. Amitav Virmani, to address the gathering. Mr. Virmani.
Ma'am, first I'd like to start with the complaint. You cannot make me follow an act like that. Next time I will go before the chief guest. You know, about 25 years ago, I was on that side. And when festivals like this and events like this used to happen, I used to say, ye speeches kab khatam hongi, so that we can get on with it. And I know you're all saying that. I'm going to get on with it. I won't take more than 6 minutes. But I want to thank, first and foremost, our wonderful chief guest for giving his words of wisdom, more importantly, his beautiful music to us. I also want to welcome the governing council members, which are the new members who've joined us only a couple of months ago, me being one of them. Sadly, they can't be here because of COVID, but they're joining us online, so I'd like to welcome them. I want to thank and welcome the staff, the faculty, and our wonderful principal for what they've done over the last 2 years. If you think life has been difficult for you, who are easy change makers and can adjust to what has happened to us, you cannot imagine what the faculty, the staff, and principal have gone to. So I really want to give them a round of applause for what has happened over the last 2 years. And last and most importantly, I want to welcome, thank, and congratulate all the students. I've been to the college about 5-6 times now, and this is the first time I've felt I've actually come to college because I've seen the wonderful students. So congratulations and welcome back. So I wasn't sure what I should speak to you about, and like I said, I won't take too much time. I felt, given what we're talking about today and the importance of creativity, I wanted to speak a little bit about one of my favorite educationists. And for those of you studying education here, you may have heard of Sir Ken Robinson, who is an absolute genius of an educationist. We lost him last year. He was at the University of Warwick and then moved to Los Angeles. But, you know, he asked a very pertinent question. The question he was asking is, do schools kill creativity? Right? And he went on to study that question endlessly. He went on to look at education systems globally. And he found a very interesting phenomena, which was rampant across all systems. He said there's typically a hierarchy of subjects when we talk about school systems. And that hierarchy usually has math and languages at the top. It has science, the humanities, and the liberal arts somewhere in the middle. And sadly, it has the arts right at the bottom. And he said, why is it that creativity cannot be given the same status as literacy? because it really deserves that same status. He said a wonderful thing. He said, children don't grow into creativity, they grow out of it. In fact, they get educated out of it. And I think today's festival is a celebration of creativity. You know, Picasso said, every child is born an artist. It's sad that they don't get to remain one when they grow old. So I want to share a story that I picked up from Sir Ken Robinson's TED Talk, and I really encourage all of you to go hear this TED Talk. It's called Do Schools Kill Creativity? And he talks about this young girl called Gillian Lynn. Have any of you heard of Gillian Lynn? No, you haven't. I'll tell you her story. So she grew up in the 1930s. She went to a school in the US. And she was like a lot of us, me especially, was a problem child. Diagnosed as a problem child. What does that mean? She was restless in class. She couldn't sit still. She was disrupting the others. She never did her homework. She would ignore the students, wouldn't socialize. She was a problem child. Ken Robinson facetiously says she would have been diagnosed with ADHD, but in the 30s, ADHD hadn't been invented. It wasn't a diagnosed disorder. But today we would have said she has ADHD. So he says, what happened in school? He said, the principal called my mother, and because I was such a disruptive child, and the principal called my mother over and sat my mother down and said, Mrs. Lynn, your child is a really sick child. She refuses to study. She refuses to sit still. And you need to do something. You need to take her to a psychologist. You need to take her to a therapist. So she said, okay. So she takes her to a specialist, a child psychologist, who has multiple sessions with her and gets to know Gillian a little bit better. And eventually in one of those sessions, she says, Mrs. Lynn, I'd like Gillian to sit in my room. Why don't you and I walk out of the room and have a chat separately? I don't want to have this chat in front of her. So she walks out of the room with the mother, leaves Gillian back in the room, and on her way out of the room, she turns on the radio. Closes the door, and they're sitting outside, and it's a glass door. So the specialist and Mrs. Lynn can actually see Gillian inside. And she's turned on the music. So she said, Mrs. Lynn, just peek inside the room and see what's going on. And she sees that the music is playing, and Gillian has suddenly broken out into this absolutely beautiful ballet because the music is playing. She doesn't need to sit still any longer. Nobody's watching her. So the specialist looks at Mrs. Lynn and says, Mrs. Lynn, your child is not sick. She's a dancer. And Mrs. Lynn has teared up and said, what am I supposed to do? So Ken Robinson asks Mrs. Lynn, well, what did you do when you found out? She said, I pulled her out of school. I sent her to dance school. She loved it because she met people like herself who needed to move to think, which she wasn't allowed to do in school. And she met people like herself. She made a career out of dance. She set up the Gillian Lynn Dance Academy. She joined the Royal Ballet, and she went on to choreograph Cats and Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. So it's really inspiring, right? Just imagine if they had just left her for a sick child, probably given her some medication, and left her for being sick. But instead, she went on to become one of the greatest directors and choreographers of our time. So to sum up what Ken Robinson says, and I'll quote, education has mined our minds in a way we strip mine our earth for a particular commodity. And for the future, this won't work. We have to rethink the fundamental principles on which we are educating our children by honing our creative capacities for the richness they are and seeing our children for the hope they are. And our task is to educate their whole being so that it can see this future. And I think that just kind of summarizes what this festival is all about, what celebration of creativity, dance, music, and art is all about. And I want to close by channeling my inner creative being. I have two children. I have a 14-year-old son, Neil, and a 13-year-old daughter, Nitya, who both said, and I joke with them every day. I say this to them because they're shy and they don't want to express themselves. So I said, dance like nobody is watching, sing like nobody is listening. So they said, Dada, now that you've said that, we want you to sing like nobody is listening when you're on stage. So they're watching me on YouTube Live. I hope so. And ma'am, this is why I wanted to go before the musician. So I'm going to sing one line of two different songs, one for Neil and one for Nitya. And like I said, I'm going to sing like nobody's listening. So here goes. कच्ची डोरियों 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 से मैनू तू बांध ले पक्की यारियों 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 में होंदे ना फासले ऐ नाराजगी कागजी सारी तेरी मेरे सोनिया सुन ले मेरी दिल दिया गल्ला करांगे नाल नाल बह के अख नाल अख नू मिला के दिल दिया गल्ला है करांगे रोज रोज बह के सच्चियां मोहब्बतां निभा के. Thank you. Okay, and this I have just learned how to sing yesterday. I think it's a beautiful song. So it's a bit of a challenge from my daughter Nitya. So pardon me if I go wrong. Okay, here goes. कागज के दो पंख लेके उड़ा चला जाए रे जहाँ नहीं जाना था ये वहीं चला आए रे उम्र का ये ताना बाना समझ न पाए रे जुबां पे जो मोह माया मनक लगाए के देखे न भाले न जाने न दायरे दिशाहारा केमन बोका मोंटारे दिशाहारा केमन बोका मोंटारे. Thank you.
Such performances actually put you in a spot. Accomplished and educated chairpersons, all right, but talented one at that. Thank you, Mr. Virmani. We are sure that under your able guidance, Gargi would reach greater heights. We welcome you to the Gargi fraternity and wish to see more of you in the days to come. Thank you. The dignitaries are now invited to join the audience and enjoy the cultural session. Meanwhile, इफ यू अलाउ, अर्ज किया है, ਕੀਤਾ सवाल मियाँ मजनू ਨੂੰ तेरी लैला रंग दी काली है। ਕੀਤਾ सवाल मियाँ मजनू ਨੂੰ तेरी लैला रंग दी काली है। ਦਿੱਤਾ जवाब मियाँ मजनू ने तेरी अख ना वेखण वाली है। कुरान पाक दे वरखे चिट्टे उत्ते लिखी स्याही काली है। छड़ दे बुलिया दिल ते छड़ दे की गोरी की काली है। As a nation and as a country, culture is an important part of our upbringing and who we are. We all would agree that dance, music, and theatre has no barriers. It is something that everyone can feel, understand, and definitely something that everyone can enjoy. Our beautiful students have a few performances planned next. कलाकार है, कला बखूबी जानती है, कलाकार है, कलाकृति पहचानती है। नृत्य के अपने जादू से सबको मंत्रमुग्ध है करती, सबको हैरान करने की कला जानती है। When the beat of the heart is in sync with the beat of the music, it's definitely Nazakat on stage. Let's hear it out for Nazakat. Control room, please play the track. Apologies for the technical glitches and kudos to the patients.
स्वागतं कृष्ण शरणागतं कृष्ण स्वागतं कृष्ण
So that was an unexpected technical glitch. Apologize for that. We are shifting to upstage for now, and Nazakat would be performing afterwards. All the world's a stage. Up next is Upstage, the Dramatic Society. Title of the play being presented is The Fisherman, the Writer, and the Skeleton Woman. It is a simple yet unsettling story of a fisherman turned writer named Blake coping with grief, rejection, and made up worlds. Through the entire piece, the plot shifts from the present to the past and in and out of the writer's stories. The entire play is marked by metaphors and symbolisms, connecting people to characters in a story, taking turns to unravel to Blake the enthralling journey of conception to abandonment of an idea. Upstage.
मछुआरा था। उसने अपना जाल पानी में फेंका। समुंदर का पानी साफ था, साफ जैसे एक बच्चे का दिल। लेकिन लेकिन लहरें मानो एक विधवा के दिल के तरंगों की तरह ऊंचाइयों पर जाके अपने जिस्म को मुक्ति नहीं दे पा रही हूँ। आधे घंटे बाद उसके जाल में कुछ हलचल हुई और एक ही मिनट में उस मछुआरे ने अपना जाल खींचना शुरू कर दिया। लेकिन मानो जाल में कुछ ऐसा फंस गया हो जो बाहर आना ही ना चाहे। उसकी नाव में, उसके फटे हुए जाल में फंसा एक टूटा हुआ कंकाल, एक स्त्री का कंकाल। कोई मछली नहीं, बस एक ढांचा, एक स्त्री का ढांचा। डर के मारे जब वो मछुआरा अपने घर की तरफ भागा तो वो कंकाल उसके पीछे इस रफ्तार से पड़ गया कि मानो वो दोनों जुड़े हुए हों। अपने घर पहुंचकर वो मछुआरा एक चैन की सांस ले, उससे पहले ही वो कंकाल उसके सामने आकर खड़ा हो गया। जब उस मछुआरे के दिल की हलचल थोड़ी शांत हुई, उसने उस कंकाल को ठीक किया, उसकी हड्डियां सीधी करी और उसी के साथ सो गया। कुछ देर बाद वो ढांचे वाली स्त्री वो जग गई।
I don't think you care that I mostly feel alone with you. How's your story going? I sorted out your desk. Should we order pizza for dinner tonight or go out? I mean, it's up to you. I need a holiday so bad. How's your story going? The rent has gone up a lot, isn't it? You look handsome. Let's go somewhere tonight, now. I mean, we can play something too. I love you. I'm getting late. I should get going. I cleaned your room. How's your story going?
Alexa!
While we do appreciate your unfailing enthusiasm, please stop sending us half-written stories. There's another please in the brackets. Did you forget tonight to be continued? I mean, if you need any help, you just have to ask. I'm hungry.
कल की मछलियां रखी हुई हैं।
No, 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 no. I'm sick of fish. It's always fish curry, fish soup, fish pie. Fish, 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 fish. I will never see, eat or smell any more fish. वो देखा क्या? वो चीज, एक चीज, one thing. उसकी आंखें नहीं थी, पर उसकी आंखों के गड्ढे मानो मेरे जिस्म को ताड़ रहे हो. They were looking right through you. हाँ, वो एक जीता जागता कंकाल था. A living, breathing skeleton. Are you mad? देखो इसे, तुम इसको देखो. I am looking. Blake, you can't go around digging up people's graves.
तुम्हें मेरा यकीन नहीं।
No one believes you.
किसी को मेरा यकीन नहीं होगा।
No one is ever going to believe you.
किसी को मेरा यकीन नहीं होगा।
But why did she give you her hand? Blake! But why did she give you her hand?
उसने बस छोड़ दिया। पता नहीं वो क्या चाहती थी।
Look, now you have one more unfinished story.
ये उन कहानियों में से नहीं है। एक बार एक औरत को समुद्र में धकेल दिया गया। सारी मछलियों ने उसका देह नष्ट कर दिया। उसकी आंखें भी निकल आई थी और अब बस वो एक कंकाल था। Skeleton woman, skeleton woman. There is no meat in your story. मैं ये कहानी पूरी करूंगा। मैं एक बतख हूं। मेरा घर, मेरा तालाब मेरे पिंजरे से खोकर कहीं दूर समुद्र में खो गया हूं। समुद्र की आजादी में मेरी बेड़ियां खुलकर मानो मुझे फिर से बांध देती हूं। अकेला, खोया हुआ, अकेला, डरा हुआ, अकेला, नाखुश। मैं हर रोज अपनी नाव लेकर आकाश के उस कोने को छूने निकलता हूं जो समुद्र के उस पार है ही नहीं। लेकिन एक दिन मेरी दोस्त मुझे मेरी आजादी से मुक्ति दिलवाने आएगी। मैं एक बतख हूं और अपनी नाव लेकर बहुत दूर बह जाऊंगा। एक दिन वो ढांचे वाली स्त्री वो मेरा इंतजार करेगी और दिन ढलने से पहले मैं उसी के साथ डूब जाऊंगा। मैं जीत गया।
Congratulations, sir.
धन्यवाद।
क्या आप एक मछुआरे थे?
हाँ, बहुत सालों तक।
तो आपने वो छोड़ क्यों दिया?
अकेला पड़ गया था।
आपकी कहानियां किस बारे में है?
मेरी कहानियां सच्चाई से परिचय भी कराती हैं और उससे सवाल भी करती हैं।
So what would you say to the view that you simply could not cope with the death of your wife?
नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन।
क्या आप कोई दूसरी कहानी लिख रहे हैं?
हाँ, उसका नाम स्केलेटन वुमन है।
क्या ये कहानी आपकी बीवी के बारे में है?
हाँ, नहीं।
उनकी मृत्यु कैसे हुई?
डूब कर मर गई। एलेक्सा, सुनो। अब कोई बतख नहीं, कोई ढांचे वाली स्त्री नहीं, बस हम दोनों हैं। एलेक्सा।
After seeing upstage, birth characters and adapt to them brilliantly on stage, coming up next is Nazakat.
ಕುಕುಂದನ ಕಿಟ ತಕಧೀಂ ತಕತರಿ ಕುಕುಂದನ ಕಿಟ ತಕಧೀಂ ತಕತರಿ ಕುಕುಂದನ ಕಿಟ ತಕಧೀಂ स्वागतं कृष्णा शरणागतं कृष्णा स्वागतं कृष्णा शरणागतं कृष्णा मधुरापुरि सदना मृदुवदना मधुसूदना इह स्वागतं कृष्णा शरणागतं कृष्णा मधुरापुरि सदना मृदुवदना मधुसूदना इह स्वागतं कृष्णा शरणागतं कृष्णा मधुरापुरि सदना मृदुवदना मधुसूदना इह स्वागतं कृष्णा शरणागतं कृष्णा
Tom tanana dhirena dhirena Tom tanana dhirena dhirena Tom tanana dhirena dhirena Tom tanana dhirena dhirena Udana dhirena 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 Udana dhirena 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 udana udana dhirena Dhirena udana udana dhirena Tom tanana dhirena dhirena Tom tanana dhirena dhirena Tom tanana dhirena dhirena Tom tanana dhirena Udanadim tadirena dhirena Udanadim tadirena Udanadim tadirena dhirena Udanadim tadirena dhirena dim tadirena dhirena dim tadirena dhirena dim tadirena dhirena dim tadirena
Thank you, Nazakat. That was a performance loaded with passion and devotion, unmatched expressions, and intricate choreography. Up next is Euphony. The Western Music Society of the college has been a forerunner when it comes to the DU Western Music Circuit, a product of many generations of students and teachers putting in the work to get to where it is today. Bringing together capable singers and musicians, here's Euphony.
Give me a second, I need to get my story straight. My friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State. My lover, she's waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a scar. And I know I gave it to you months ago. I know you're trying to forget, but between the drinks and other things, the holes in my apologies, I'm trying hard to take it back. So if by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun. Now I know that I'm not all that you got. You said I just thought maybe we could find ways to fall apart. But our friends are back, so let's raise a toast, 'cause I found someone to carry me home tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun. Carry me home tonight. Na 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 na. Home tonight. Na 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 na. Carry me home tonight. Na 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 na. Carry me home tonight. Na 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 na. What is on my side? Na 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 na. So it's someone come and carry me home tonight. Here's your so it's someone come and carry me home tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight.
Lyrics are just words until they get the voices of singers like them. Thank you, Euphony. Next, coming up is the Northeast Society. One of the best ways to experience the vibrant and unique cultures of our country is through the intriguing Northeast region. Let's give a very warm welcome to the Northeast Society.
জানোই অতিকৈ চেনেহৰ মুগাৰে মহুৰা তাতোকৈ চেনেহৰৈ মাকো ঐ তাতোকৈ চেনেহৰ বহাগৰ বিহু তিয়ৈ নেপাতি কেনেকৈ থাকোঁ
kiwa ini kidam ka chingya de ka an makin japlay kaman ka tang ya ka la way badam chi sok pashlay atala agoira amawani pulde Miru maya no dada pari dadai pari miru man barson dina nahi biti gayo kaile hune ho sangam audai cha din hami bhetne aba man mero bhayo magan ho ho timi aune aasai ma aba मनमा छायो यो तरंग यादैमा तिम्रो कान्छ मनले तिमीलाई चाहन्छ तिम्रो मायामा नाच्न थाले म हिँड्छन्, 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 आदरको तालैमा नाच्छु म
A big, big round of applause for our students. In spite of all the odds, they have put in so much of hard work. They really, they would really appreciate if we give them a really thunderous applause, please. Up next is Kshitij. Kshitij aa gaya, Kshitij aa gaya, Kshitij aa gaya, dekho. A name that resonates with boundless enthusiasm and an undying passion for theatre. It's not just the street play society of the college, but also almost a way of life to its members. Put your hands together for Kshitij.
Trigger warning, this play includes COVID-related deaths, grief, trauma, and this also includes loud music. Viewers' discretion advised. 1, 2, 3. नमस्कार मेरे प्रिय देशवासियों, मैं आज आपके सामने फिर से आया हूँ कोविड महामारी की बात करने। बच्चा बूढ़ा, छोटा बड़ा, बुजुर्ग अमीर गरीब, हर कोई इस स्थिति में साथ आया है और हमने दिखा दिया है कि संकट की स्थिति में भारत एक साथ जुट होकर इस महामारी का मुकाबला करेगा। जैसा कि आप जानते हैं, इस महामारी ने पूरी दुनिया में बेबसता फैला रखी है। इसी को ध्यान में रख के आज हमारा भारत देश एक महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय लेने जा रहा है। आज रात 12 बजे से, जी हाँ ध्यान से सुनिएगा, आज रात 12 बजे से घर से बाहर कदम रखने पर पूरी पाबंदी लगाई जा रही है। हम पिला दे दारू, बेटियां उठाओ, निकलो यहाँ से। और मुझे ये विश्वास है कि हर एक भारतीय इस संकट से पूरी विजय और सफलता के साथ सामना करेंगे। आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। गार्गी कॉलेज की स्ट्रीट प्ले सोसाइटी कशिटिज प्रस्तुत करती है अपना नुक्कड़ नाटक। टाइम दिखाई नहीं देता तो लॉकडाउन की अनाउंसमेंट सुनाई नहीं देती। मास्क ऊपर करो, अंदर डाल दूंगा मैं तुम्हें।
Please roll down the screen. Gopalji is requested to roll down the screen. That was an exemplary performance, and with these breathtaking performances, today's event comes to an end. To put together and build an event, a lot of talent and hard work has to come together. We are happy to share with you a few glimpses of behind the scenes. Please enjoy. Please dim the lights. Please switch off the stage light. I would request Dr. Udita Mukherjee to put this link on the YouTube chat as well as on Gargi Association group. So after COVID issues, we are following sound issues, but I'm sure we all can feel the enthusiasm, and it's definitely contagious. Should I tell them? Should I tell them? Just wait. इस पे click कैसा गाना है ना So while we are trying to play it again, Udita is behind the videography and our principal, Professor Kumar, is behind the conception of the icon. Are we playing it again? Okay. To deliver the vote of thanks to all the dignitaries and guests, let me invite Saundarya, our students' president.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Saundarya Rastogi, President of the Students' Union. I am proposing the vote of thanks on this August occasion. Meister Eckhart once said, "If the only prayer you said was thank you, that would be enough." My thank you would begin with my reverence to God Almighty for blessing us in these difficult times. On behalf of my student body and the entire faculty, it gives me great felicity in thanking our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Rabi Sherkul, for taking out time from his busy schedule and accepting our invitation. A sincere thanks to Mr. Amitav Virmani, our chairperson of the governing body, our principal, Professor Pramila Kumar, who has been our constant guiding light. I also take this opportunity to express my gratitude to our union advisors, Dr. Sheila Dubey, convener, Dr. Seema Sharma, and Dr. Niyati Singh. Our proctor teachers, Dr. Prajita Mahanti, Mr. Amit Rohilla, and Dr. Anita Bhatt. My thank you would be incomplete without expressing my gratitude to the people behind the scene. A special mention of Mr. Khan, Mr. Sunil Kohli, and Mr. Deepak and the entire team. My gratitude is also extended towards Dr. Varun Bhandari and Mr. Anuj for their technical support, our comparer, Dr. Jaswinder Kaur, our photographer and videographer for the day, Dr. Udita Mukherjee, and all the other members of various event management committees. Last but not the least, I'm grateful for my team of hardworking girls who worked day and night to bring this event together. You've been my support system. I take this opportunity to ask for the chairperson's permission to declare the fest open. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Saundarya. So one last time, अर्ज किया है, बुल्ले शाह कहंदे ने, चढ़दे सूरज ढलदे वेखे, बुझदे दीवे बलदे देखे, हीरे दा कोई मुੱਲ न जाने, खोटे सिक्के चलदे देखे, जीना दाना जगते कोई, ओ भी पुत्तर पलदे देखे, उस दी रहमत दे नाल बंदे पानी उत्ते चलदे देखे, लोकी कहंदे दाल नहीं गलदी, मैं तां पत्थर गलदे देखे, जिन्हां ने कदर न कीती रब दी, हथ खाली ओ मलदे देखे, कई पैरां तो नंगे फिरदे, सिर ते लब्बण छावां, मैनू दाता सब कुछ दिता, क्यों ना शुक्र मनावां. With immense gratitude to the Almighty, I bid adieu and fare you well. Everyone is cordially invited to the lunch so that we may toast our happiness together. And we also hope to see more of physical interactions with students who are watching this online next year for sure. Thank you.